Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I am your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown. And no, I did not station Lieutenant Garrett with Philippa Georgiou. That wasn't me. I didn't do it. I'm alongside the best bridge crew, this side of that poor Andorian, just trying to get some alone time. I mean, like, come on, man. That poor guy. Vice Admiral Eric is here and would be the only one most likely to 3D print himself a mech suit. I feel like you probably already started one and are not telling us.
Fuck no.
No, you don't want a mech suit?
That design
No, I'm not talking
terrible.
about that mech suit. I'm talking about like just a mech suit.
Yeah, I'm gonna make
He wants a Fallout mech suit.
I'm not. I maybe have started one.
I know him.
Yum Pod already wants me to start doing a silly accent. No, I'm not going to do any silly accents tonight. You can go watch Section 31 if you want that. Praetor Giraffe is here, ready to not review the actual film, instead talk about the fashion choices for the next 2 hours, because you've had a lot to say about those. And finally, Captain MC is here, who every time she says something about this film in our chat, I've just been imagining the most unamused face imaginable, which
because
was also,
you know me well enough,
which is also the pre-show as well. Welcome back, guys. How we doing?
Well, I mean, I'm not looking forward to this.
It's gonna be fun. Come on.
January has been literally 7 months long, and I want it to end.
This has been the worst year imaginable.
Yeah. Yes,
the worst year? It's only January,
it's
Lemon.
The 30th. Oh my god. This week it's our deep dive and review of Star Trek Section 31, the straight to streaming Paramount Plus movie. That's it. That's the show. That's what we're doing. I am gonna put up a little bit of a disclaimer right at the top of the show for those who enjoyed this film, because there are quite a few of you. And while we unanimously did not, there might be one or two nice things that we say about it, but this review more than likely will not be kind for those who enjoyed it. We've always tried.
We respect you and we love you.
We respect you and we love you, and we've always tried to keep things non-toxic and avoided gatekeeping. But if you enjoyed this film, this review may not be for you, because we're not going to do any of those things, but we are going to deep dive it because that's what we do. And yeah, we hope you won't be offended by what we say, and we won't be offended if you say, you know what, see you later. We'll see you next week. Just real quick, a big show. We got to get through this movie review. Patrons, you know that we love you. We got to try and keep things moving tonight, but a very quick shout out to our Badmirals, our EPs, Simon Steger, Chris Waterman, Tara Poland, Brett Jones, Dana, and Matt Harker. Thank you for keeping the lights on and all of that jazz. Our trash heap running, our flamethrower planet flaming, all of those good things. Very quick news. I think that the chat will start a war if they don't get their hint from you, Eric, about the patron card. So, Eric, do you have that hint for them?
Yeah, so there's a non-glitch version in the Discord, and there's 2 ciphers. There you go. There's your hint. Not one. There's 2.
So the non-glitched version is in the chat, and you said there's 2 ciphers.
Yeah. You do the first one, and you'll realize it doesn't make sense. You find out the second one. There you go.
Oh, man. I do not know if that is the hint people wanted, and I'm actually here for it. So
it's the hint they deserve.
The hint they wanted was the non-glitch version, which is a clearer version of there.
Yeah.
So
fair. There's your hint, folks. Very quickly, I do also the non-glitched. Yum yum. I want to give a quick shout out to our friends at the press department over in Paramount Plus for sending me a Section 31 box. That was very kind of you. I got some eyeball jellies here that are going to go in my Valentine's cocktail for me and Karen. I think I'm going to poke the eyeballs with these things. Got like cocktail holders and like nuts and chocolate.
Show the eyeballs again. I didn't see this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, look, eyeballs. They were on the pictures I sent you. Yeah. Yeah. So a big thank you to Paramount Plus. That was very kind. By the way, anybody that got one of those press boxes, I want to point out that Paramount made a donation on behalf of World Central Kitchen, which is helping with a lot of the wildfire relief in Southern California. So that's awesome of them to do that. So good on Paramount Plus there. Sorry what we're going to do to this film. A very quick congrats to our good friends Bill and Dan over at Trek Geeks. They just launched their brand new live show tonight. It is right before ours. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So check them out on Thursdays and then swing on by and spend the rest of your evening with us. Super proud of them for starting a live show. They had John Billingsley on, so you're going to want to go and check them out. And then another very, very quick bit of business. We've been giving you guys a lot of info about like Strange New Pod's plans for 2025. And if you notice, there's 4 of us tonight. And if you're wondering where Hawk is here, he's off tonight. And in 2025, that's something we're going to be changing up with the pod. We have a great problem that we have 5 amazing hosts. And that leads to longer episodes, though, and sometimes repetition. And honestly, at some points, it gets a little bit boring. We don't want people to get bored and get to that point. So in 2025, you are generally, for the most part, never going to see all 5 of us on the pod unless it's like a big deal, like a big event. Hawk did not like this movie either. And he's like, I'm going to sit this one out. And that's kind of the plan. People are going to come for what they want to come to. And they're going to stay off that week for the shows that they don't want to be on. It's that simple. So there'll be 3 to 4 of us a week. It'll rotate. It'll be great. It'll be fun. And am I missing anything else so we can, go ahead, Draft.
Oh, we're starting a new podcast, my friend.
Yes, you are.
For our patrons, we are starting a new podcast. We, as Amy Imhoff and myself, that's going to be more interview centric. It's called Alternative Space, and you'll get first taste of the podcast. I can't tell yet who we're interviewing, but you're gonna like it. So if you're a member of our Patreon, you'll get first listen and also the video of it, while the audio will be accessible to everyone a little bit later.
Awesome.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. We'll give you all those details as we get closer to that launching. Looking forward to that. It's going to be awesome. Amy's a great friend of the show, and I think they're going to do incredible work. So stay tuned for more details on that. Giraffe, also, while we're talking about Patreon, why don't you give the date that we talked about today for happy hour, date and time?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be your host for February happy hour, February 8th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, a.k.a. 7 p.m. I can count, I promise. 7 p.m. Eastern time. I had to think a lot. So February 8th.
I respect that.
Yeah. The power of math. February 8th at 7 p.m. on the Eastern. I'll come talk to me, not about math. Well,
we won't talk about math. No,
thank
no
you.
Math.
Can count.
Let's keep this bad boy going. I don't think anybody else has any news. No. Good. All right. Let's hit the strange new loop. So Eric immediately before we started was like, I don't know how I'm going to answer this question. And it is decent to wonder, how do I answer this question? Because the question is, if there is one thing that you would have changed, that you would have thought that kept Section 31 a better movie, what would it be and why? Giraffe immediately raised her hand, so go ahead.
I would have made Fuzz not a golem, a real person. Because I think that one of the main problem everybody had with that film is that there was no character development and like they were all kind of flat. And I feel that, in Star Trek, we have characters like Spock and Data and so on, where like they have internal struggle and they're complicated people. And I think that it would have been super interesting to have this question of what happens when your parasite is sentient. That would have made it better for me. It would have was like make me think a little bit.
Yeah, like Venom and his symbiote. Like
Yeah,
Eddie Brock
exactly.
and his symbiote.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would've
yeah,
been cool.
exactly.
Yeah.
hmm
Just before anybody else goes, hey Gandalf.
Yeah, he's escaping because he knows we're talking about Section 31.
Smart cat. Rick Hernandez in the chat room. One good thing about this movie is now a lot of Trekkies are reconsidering their opinion about Insurrection, Nemesis, Star Trek V, and Into Darkness.
So true.
All great points. Who else? Well,
I know.
You start. Go ahead.
I would actually, for this Section 31 movie, take Section 31 out of it. Because I'm sorry, from everything we know about Section 31, there's no way any of these chuckleheads would be in it, except for Georgiou and Rachel Garrett. Actually, Rachel Garrett
And Quasi. I'm giving love to Quasi too.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like based on like the people that we've seen in Section 31 before, Rachel Garrett actually makes a lot of sense. Everybody else, no. I mean, if you want to do an Ocean's 11 with Georgiou in the lead, just do that.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Yeah. Eric, have you thought about an answer?
I would have not made this a movie. I would have made it a miniseries. Give me like
Which I believe, yeah.
Give me 6 to 8 episodes of this. This would have probably been fine. Probably.
And I think we're all under the assumption that that was the original plan for this show, and it shit the bed, and Michelle Yeoh won an Oscar, and I think they were like, we can only afford her this one time, so let's do this. Let's see. Yum Yum Pod wrote, hot take, this film could have used Ash Tyler as someone to exchange barbs with. That's not a hot take. That is a great take. Ash Tyler, find a way to bring Leland back. Like, I don't know.
Wouldn't they be like 60 years older?
Ash would not. I don't know how much older he would be, but I think he'd be alive.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Ash is technically a Klingon, so
Fair.
he could still be alive.
point.
And also, why is Sand still alive? So
That was a question I was going to bring up later.
Who?
Sand, the bad guy. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like how is dude out of time? That MC, that is the first time I've thought of that, and now that is like,
Damn it, MC. I
there's-
was going to talk about that. I'm just joking.
There's a lot like the whole question of like when is it taking place?
Well, it
is
has a
such-
start date at the beginning of the movie.
and someone gave the date, and I forget what it is, but it kind of
Was
makes
it on the
sense.
screeners?
I don't think it was on the
screeners.
screeners, but it was on the
start date?
actual one.
No,
Yeah.
the start date was on the screener.
Then I wasn't paying attention to the screener as much.
I've also heard that start date is wrong too.
I've
even
heard that
better.
as well. If I was to do one thing, I would have kept the original writers, and I would have not had Michelle Paradise be a consulting producer. I would have had her be like one of the main executive producers, and like, what do you call a showrunner for a film?
A producer.
director.
Just a producer. No, but
producer.
like, there's not. No, it's like, I guess a producer, but like not a showrunner.
Executive producer usually.
Executive producer.
Executive
Yeah.
producer, yeah.
Yeah, I think that this movie, if it wanted to be Section 31, needed like the Discovery Season 2 tone and Disco Season 3 tone, and instead we got like TNG Season 2 tone.
It wasn't even that.
It wasn't even that. So, yeah, it's just a little bit bonkers. 2326 is apparently the year, which means Ash Tyler could be alive and well.
23, 26 is a crazy year. It makes no sense.
I don't know.
Anyway, we'll talk about this later, I'm sure, but like it makes no sense.
This movie apparently took place after Star Trek 6. That is very accurate. It does take place after Star Trek 6. That is definitely confirmed. So anyway, that's the Stranger Loop. If you have any other answers, I don't think there's any others. We are going to get right into the review of this film. Our order tonight will go, it's like we've had a bunch of weird shows, so we're going from the top. So it'll be Eric Giraffe, MC, followed by myself. We are going to start with the Terran Empire prologue. So the first 8 minutes of this film show a young Georgiou, played by Miku Martineau, being crowned emperor of the Terran Empire. after poisoning her entire family, like brutally, and outlasting her lover, San, and what we also assume is a bunch of other candidates in like a Terran Empire Hunger Games type of deal.
Why did you say lover like that?
Because I don't still know if they were lovers or just like super close friends, or
They said I love you to each other later.
Yeah, but I love you can mean like
But
I love you like
too
my
also,
brother.
Eric,
I do
and
love
we're
you.
not
Yeah. I love
lovers.
you guys.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. My ticket
So-
to Canada, guys.
what did we jeez. Oh man, are we already here?
I want to know what the hell is going on.
I think we are. What did we think about the prologue of Section 31, Eric?
I thought it was the best part of the movie. I love
Same.
this part. The whole idea that she had been 2 years away after being called to do this Hunger Games thing. I would have rather that been this movie. Like, just the whole movie. Like, seeing children getting picked up, like, randomly, like, Jedi children, and just, like, pulled away to this place, and then that's how they make the new emperor. And then have the last scene where she kills her family, and then they flash forward to her as an older one. That would have been an awesome first movie, like in a 3-movie arc. Like if this was a trilogy of movies, that would have been a cool way to do it. But everything she said was way more interesting. I just sat there. I was like, ooh, this is fantastic. Could you imagine Hunger Games and Star Trek?
I would watch the shit out of it.
Yeah. 100%.
I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
The fact that there was this innocent kid that had left and then came back still seemingly nice, and then just had to harden her heart to kill her family to do this thing was the actress was fantastic. I thought everyone did really, really well. This was also the part that I really liked the production design. Like I thought it looked really good. It was the first time it didn't look like they were filming on like a volume. Like this looked like the biggest open space, and it looked real.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looked like Discovery, like a good Discovery episode. But yeah, that's
Yeah. Giraffe?
I like the opening. I thought it was a good like tone setting. Too bad they, didn't follow through with it. I do think that Hunger Games is a crazy idea. When they were like that, I was like, so it's the Hunger Games? Like,
what a terrible way to
then
pick an
what? Like-
emperor, right?
yeah, this is like crazy, especially because they always tell us that captains, for example, or emperor are like decided by who murders who. So like just like Erlich the kid, and then you're the emperor, I suppose. I don't know. I'm like,
But didn't like in Enterprise Hoshi kill Forrest, who was the emperor, or kill the emperor, or like stage
yeah,
a
you
coup
kill
and
the
became
emperor. That's how
Yeah.
he becomes the emperor.
Yeah.
not
So
like
I'm
by
wondering
doing
why they
Hunger
needed
Games.
a Hunger Games.
I don't know.
like-
Anyway,
yeah,
I was
anyway.
like, sure, why not? Like you get random kids and you make them hate the system, and then you put them as emperor. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But I was like, whatever. My only like great problem, and I'm pretty sure you know what I'm gonna say, the fucking yellow filter. Like, oh, they're poor.
They're poor.
live in
Oh,
the
damn it.
dust. Dust. It's dusty, and they're poor. They drink soup in a tent. Yellow filter, and I'm like, I was like, okay, I get it. Thank you. Well, that was my first hint that we're maybe gonna be very, I don't know, cliche and not very like. Let's try to think of different things to do, but yeah, I was surprised by the fact that I didn't expect her to murder everybody, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. And then I like that their transporter cannot transport a whole army together, it's just like line by line. But makes sense.
It was a cool
Well,
effect.
It
Yeah.
was a cool effect, yeah. I like the twist when like she's, actually mutilating him. I was like, oh, she's so crazy and badass. It was such a good tone for Georgiou. I thought it was like really, really like putting you into the deep of, Georgiou. And I thought for new audience also, it's a good tone setting. But that
Yeah.
was it.
Yep. MC?
Okay. First of all, just on the yellow filter, just from a canon perspective, the yellow filter annoyed me because it was so fucking bright in that scene. And canonically, like, the people in the mirror universe have problems with light.
Yes, that is true. I forgot about that. See, I knew it was annoying me for a good reason.
Yeah. This was the best part of the movie. Unfortunately, I'm still going to tear it apart. One of my favorite movies is Battle Royale. And Battle Royale, Hunger Games, all of these competitions where you get a bunch of kids together to kill each other. There's such a political overtone to it that this completely missed, because in the Hunger Games, if you win the Hunger Games, you're turned into a sideshow. You win Battle Royale, you're completely broken and turned into a sideshow. In this, you're made emperor. No, these contests are used to quell the poor parts of the population. They're not used to elevate anybody. So that bothered me. Also, the fact that I could see her killing her parents coming a fucking mile away. As soon as San came in, I was just like, oh, so her PETA is going to be the bad guy of the movie? Like, there was just absolutely no twist there. It was, they were telegraphing that. What is it? Miko Martineau? She did a fantastic job as Georgiou. But this just didn't work for me. And I'm very sorry. I'm probably going to be the roughest on this movie.
That's okay. I absolutely adored these first 8 minutes. I love them. They made me write an article about it, which I'm going to shamelessly plug right now and put the link into the YouTube chat, because, man, is this like what we should have gotten from this movie? It should have been a Terran Empire film. Like, this is where Michelle Yeoh thrives in the role of Georgiou, not some comedic like Gollum of her that we get throughout this film, but like brutal. And Mika Martineau like just like embodied a young Philippa like so well. And I know people are complaining about like her whispering and stuff. I'm like, no, this is like a brutal moment. I liked the tone a lot. I knew that she was going to kill her parents. I listen, maybe I'm the stupid one in the room. I didn't know San was going to be the bad guy until like
I didn't know she was going to kill our parents. So, you know, like
right, yeah, like so, you know, but everything about this, from when she kills them to raising the sword to the army you know, transporting in, this was beautifully filmed, and I'm wondering where this came from, because it's so good. And then we get everything else. Like I'm hoping to host a panel at Trek Long Island about the opening like 10 minutes of Star Trek 2009. I would love to do a panel just about like these 8 minutes, because there's so much to unpack here. And, you know, I would have loved a Game of Thrones style Terran Empire miniseries. And I think, you know, that would have made people happier. This was amazing.
This feels like the most intact from when it was a miniseries. I feel like this scene was not changed like as much as the rest was compressed. Like this felt like a full.
It was also the only one with good costumes.
Yeah.
Just throw that in the middle, but like the Terran Empire costumes are badass.
Oh, they're so good.
They're so good.
You know. That whole look that the Discovery era has created for the Terran Empire outdoes, I think, any other version of the mirror universe that we've seen. And like, I want to live in that. Like, I don't, but like as a Trekkie, I want to like live in that world for like 10 weeks and talk about it
Terran
weekly.
Empire, don't you know
Oh no,
that?
yeah, no,
Minus,
we already are. Minus the style.
Yeah.
I mean, I might just start wearing black leather everywhere at this point.
Okay, daddy.
Hey. So yeah, these opening 8 minutes were great. And then let's get to the rest. By the way, Kang writes, I appreciate the criticism because it's being said out of honesty as opposed to what I'm seeing from people who auto-hate any Kurtzman era Trek that isn't Stranger Worlds. I had a friend literally text me today and wanted to just like go on and get in an argument about how Kurtzman era Trek besides Strange New World sucks and how Discovery's awful. And I literally wrote, I refuse to have this argument with you. And I think I put Do Not Disturb on. So thank you, Kang. I appreciate that. Coded Transmission 1. One Night at the Baram. Like we needed this shit on the screen. The Section 31 portion of the film is split into 3 parts and opens with Omari Hardwick's Alok requesting a meeting with Philippa where they do some sparkly drugs, which were pretty cool. I want to try some. And Georgiou immediately cuts through his bullshit and proceeds to tell him all about the agents scattered through her station, like right out of Ocean's 11. What do we think here, Eric?
The opening text, I just like with the voiceover. I hate when movies do this. Like it just seems.
Thank you.
It seems so lazy. Like I hate it. And then we get the opening sequence that felt like they wanted to do something from like The Fifth Element. They're like, hey, look, you know what had a really cool like music sequence? That fight scene with the opera singer. Let's have an opera type singer. And it wasn't like even the lyrics from her songs were terrible. Like
I liked her though.
There were lyrics.
Yeah,
there were lyrics.
Like I got finally thank God for the newer version. Seeing subtitles was really nice, but it was like say yes to everything, say yes to tonight, and I was like, what the fuck? Come on, man, really? Yeah, those were actually lyrics. The Ocean's 11, like even the music, like tried to emulate that Ocean 11 song that I was trying to explain to you, but I never found out the words. I don't
think the song has any words. It's
yeah, that one. Like it sounded like that enough that I thought at the beginning that they were actually like gonna license that song, but they didn't. They made their own weak ass version. The introductions felt less Ocean's 11 and more David Ayer Suicide Squad.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
which was unfortunate because if they had gone the Ocean's 11 one, maybe I would have felt more keen to the actual cast. But yeah, it felt like this is where it started feeling like an imitation of many things that came before, and it was very apparent. And I don't know if that's just because I watch a lot of movies, which is why I wanted to watch it with my wife. She hasn't had a chance to yet, but yeah, it was my first sign of maybe this is just gonna be sloppy.
Yeah,
I absolutely cringed at the voiceover Mission Impossible wannabe opening sequence. I was like, oh, this is so bad. Like, show, don't tell. Like, I had to, and they're like, blah, 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 and I'm like, what the? First of all, I know all this, and for people who don't know all this, it's incomprehensible. And because it goes too fast, and it's so cringe. The voiceover is not good, also. It just
and that's like, Jamie Lee Curtis doing that voiceover.
I know, but it doesn't sound great. I was like, first of all, I was like, is that Jamie Lee Curtis? And I was like, no, there's no way. And then I was like, oh, it's somebody like trying to imitate her. That's why it's bad. But it didn't give any gravitas of the thing, you know? Like, I mean, I grew up with Mission Impossible. And, you know, like there is a gravitas, there's an excitement. Even when Mission Impossible, the new movies do it, it's kind of cool. And then it was just like weird. And then the club. Yeah, me too. I was like, oh, The Fifth Element. But you know what? That dress was no Gautier, all right? That was not. And yeah, it felt like right away I was like, oh, that's kind of super derivative in the first, like, it's Mission Impossible, then it's The Fifth Element. And I was like, I don't watch Star Trek to watch this. I love those movies, but I want to see something else. And why is she French? Why is the bad French there? Like, like, I mean, not bad, but you know, like they're very clearly not French, and it's just like it takes me out of the movie right away. I know that French speakers are mostly like a minima of like who watches that movie, but I was like, why? Oh, is it supposed to be fancy? Is that what it is?
Well, you know, like it's supposed to be a cover for her, right? But it's like, does Philippa Georgiou need a cover? Like, no one's gonna fuck with her.
Listen, and like, why is it in French and why is everybody mispronouncing the words? Like, except her French is good. Like, but like the rest, I was just like, it's like very heavy accented for no good reason. And then also, like, Virgil, are we all the way there? Are we doing all the way there?
I'd say we're at Virgil.
Who's Virgil?
Virgil is the
black and white guy.
Oh yeah, talk about Virgil.
Yeah. So I know a lot of Trekkies were mad because they're supposed to be all dead, but I thought it was fun.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm like, yeah, why the fuck not? But why is everybody wearing suit jackets? This is so weird. Like, he's literally, and I know I'm most probably the only one here, like, clogging these things, but it's like a Balmain. Like, it's you can buy that jacket if you want.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people wear those. And I'm just like, oh, why is he wearing that? Like,
It was a fancy dinner dance party.
Oh, yeah. It's also like a 200 years old jacket. Like, why would you? Like, are you cosplaying like the 21st century? Like, this is so weird. And I was like, if it's made for the show, then why make something that looks like something that is right there or like you can buy? Why not make something different? If it's purchased, why the fuck do you purchase those things? Like, that's kind of cool, but like boring. Like, I don't know. I see people wear those. $3,000 jacket, okay, but like so yeah, I was kind of like more like I was embarrassed. I'm gonna tell you, like that opening sequence, I was just sitting, I was like, oh no, they did that to Michelle Yeoh. Oh
yeah. MC.
Okay, I will start with a positive thing because it's probably going to be the only one. The alien singer looks very similar to an alien design from Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of some of the Star Trek Beyond aliens, which were beautiful, turning up in the Prime universe. So that is a good thing about this scene. And I also like Virgil. And like Giraffe said, it has been a very controversial thing because everybody was supposed to be dead. The only thing is, we did have the 2 survivors from the end of Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. They could have gone on and met people and, reproduced.
It's also just unrealistic to believe that an entire species gets wiped out. Like, they probably evacuated a little bit and people find a way.
That is true. I mean, look at, they wiped out all of the Jedi and look at how many of those keep on turning up. But
like
even
hotcakes.
but even if we're taking the, yes, absolutely everybody was wiped out, there were still 2 survivors that could have gone on and reproduced, and their genes could have just been very, strong, so that, you've still got the half black, half white face. I don't mind it at all. It's such a great design. I like seeing it again. But as for everything else, yes, this gave me heavy Suicide Squad vibes with everybody's introductions. And I hates it, especially because it feels like not only with the introductions, but with the characters that they chose. It felt like they were trying to turn Section 31 into Suicide Squad. And that doesn't make any sort of sense. I had brought this up. I think I mentioned it on Blue Sky. Look at the people that they've tried to recruit to Section 31 previously or in the future, like Dr. Bashir, Lieutenant Reed, like very serious people who are very dedicated to Starfleet. And I think this is... William Boimler is actually, very dedicated to Starfleet and very serious. And I feel like now this whole idea that this movie kind of really pushes through is Section 31 is the place for, rogues who, don't really fit in. And I don't love that for Section 31. It feels contrary to the way Section 31 has acted before, because Section 31 has been the bad guys, And I feel like they are they're zealots. They're absolute zealots to it's not just that they're mavericks who will do anything to get things done. It's they literally believe that they are the only thing standing in the way of the Federation falling. And I don't get any of that from these guys. They are just giving me Suicide Squad. They're giving me that these people are in their position because they're expendable. I don't love that. And I also really I don't love that everybody's kind of like this weird rogue and is an alien, except for the one human from the Prime timeline who is trying to keep them all in check. That feels, for some reason, it's like I was going through the cast and I was like, yeah, there's only one human who, not from the mirror universe, not genetically enhanced. And they're the one that's trying to, keep everyone in check. And that I don't like that.
Say it. It feels very colonialist.
Thank you, Draft. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm here for this.
Very accurate.
I will be the outlier and say that I'm a huge Mission Impossible fan. So I actually really enjoyed the Jamie Lee Curtis voiceover, even if it was a little bit cringe. I liked seeing it. And I got to tell you, up until the moment Georgiou says, let's cut through the bullshit, in like the most like horribly delivered line of like the whole movie, possibly, I was still in. I was like, okay, this is cool. The setting is cool. Virgil is cool. And then they do the drugs, and that's also cool because seeing space drugs is always awesome. And then
you want to buy some Death State?
You want to buy rethink your life.
You know, just that glitter effect is like the whole budget for Lower Deck season 6.
Oh yeah. But then the minute that they start going and doing the whole meet Fluff or whatever his name is,
Fuzz,
meet Fluff, meet Rachel Garrett, meet all these characters, and I'm like, oh, this is gross. Like, this is no good. I just had like red alert all over my eyeballs seeing Fuzz. I was like, oh,
Fluff.
No.
I'm gonna call him Fluff now.
His name's Fluff for now.
I love it.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yes.
Because I watched Terra Firma right before this episode, and there's this whole so the Guardian talks about how she's now like changed from her Terran ways, and how she's like she can do good now, and that's they're gonna send her back. She like totally regressed, right? In this movie,
she did.
Like nothing from Disco matters for her now. Like
I don't know. I think that like I don't know if it was
She
fully
talks
like she's
about
a
how
good
she
guy
was-
now.
She talked about how she was infected with morality in this. So like,
yeah, it feels like a different character.
It
It
does.
does feel
It
like a
feels
different
wrong.
character. It does not feel like it's a very watered down Georgiou.
not even.
Let's
what-
keep let's keep going because once Georgiou's into this plan that she wasn't supposed to be involved with in the first place, like the whole mission didn't make sense really to begin with. We get a second introduction to the characters, which seems a lot like the previous scene where they go around in a circle introducing us to Fluff. With each of them like adding some banter in an attempt, I think, for us as like the viewer to maybe get to know them or feel something for them. They also do the tropey like show the plan as they describe the plan happening. That is right out of Ocean's 11 and like every heist film over the past 25 years. Thoughts here, Eric?
Fucking terrible. It was terrible. They even did the fast to slow camera moves like they did in Ocean's 11, but like it the thing that I enjoyed about this is that we got to see Mel do something, right? Before she was unceremoniously killed.
I was like,
the
I
next scene
like
we're
Mel, and then
I
they were
like Mel a
fuck
lot, too.
you.
Into the fridge with you, Mel.
Like the actress Humberly Gonzalez, I think is her name.
Yeah. Yep.
she already got shit last year for the Star Wars game. So like, I thought this was just gonna be like another stepping point. Like she's gonna be awesome. Nope. That's unfortunate. Other than that, this section, I don't like it. I don't like it. Am I being overly hard? No, it was cheesy. It was bad. I don't like it. No.
Fair.
I did not understand the plan. I was
It
like,
wasn't done well.
and then they don't do that, if I remember well, right? Like they
That-
say that they're
that's-
gonna do that, and
that's
then
the
they
thing.
don't do that.
They explained this plan that they would have done if Georgiou wasn't in on it, which
Yeah.
this is just a waste of time. Like,
And I'm
it's-
like, why are we doing this? I was already confused. And again, I watched it 3 times with no subtitles. So I'm still very unsure about like what we're doing. And yeah, I was into Mel because we don't see many Daltons, in Star Trek, but apparently it's a Dalton fate to get shot in the head.
That's actually one of the things that really pisses me off the most about the movie. It's like she's one of the most interesting characters, like on paper, and then they fridge her in the first 15 minutes. Like,
Well, I suppose we're gonna talk about her death when it happens
I
later.
think
but like,
so. Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I was not interested by the character, honestly. I thought like a lot of them had like something interesting going on, but I was like, I hope there's more. And then there was no more. And so yeah, it just, at that time I still had hope. I was still like, no, it's just like, it's bad debut, it's bad start, but they're gonna start kicking ass and then it's gonna be fun. But yeah, it was weird. Let's say that. I like Fuzz. I know nobody likes Fuzz, but I like Fuzz. I do.
he had a lot of fun in this movie. That actor.
Oh,
He had a blast.
listen,
Like,
that guy is like, he's enjoying being there.
I mean, that would have
And
been,
say that-
it would have been fun to be that. Like, it just, his script was amazing. Like, for
I just don't
play.
understand why the actor is South African and why they give him an Irish accent. I was confused with
And
that.
why they told him to do it like 5 minutes before they started filming.
Did they really?
Was
No,
mean.
but that's what it sounds
He's
like.
being mean.
It's not good.
We've already talked about, or maybe this was in the car ride to New York that I talked about what I thought about the accent, but I
it
don't
was
know
in
if
the,
I'm going to say
it
that
was in
live
the
on the
chat. It was in
Oh,
the
was it
chat.
in the chat? Oh, well, I don't know.
There's so
man.
much high pitch. Oh.
I don't, for the people who watch Drag Race, when Trinity the Tug goes like, I don't know what the fuck she's saying, but I'm leaving. That was me all the time with Fuzz. I was like, I have no clue what he's saying. Like, zero. I do not understand a word of what that man is saying. But like, you look cute. I'm here for you. Yes.
Was that it, MC? I'm sorry.
That was Draftster.
Oh my God! Everybody just went
Yeah,
off.
everybody just went about Fuzz. Let's go.
Yep.
MC.
Yeah, this well, we talk about the banter in this movie. I don't like the banter in this movie. I think it's all so out of place, and it feels like they're trying really hard to be witty and have all of these fun characters, and it comes up in a lot of really weird places. Like we'll talk about it more when later, but they're bantering after people die.
But it's not even
and
like,
I don't like that.
it's not even like 2010s or 2020s like witty banter. It felt like a 90s, like, we're going to try and do a little quip here. In those bad like action movies in the 90s? That's what it felt like. Like, it felt lazy and old.
Yeah.
Ew.
And just talking about Mel, I like the idea of Mel. Unfortunately, there's only the idea of her because they don't really do a whole lot. I do wish that we had gotten more from her than leaning into the Dalton stereotype of the sexy seductress. Because do they call her like a walking honey trap or something
Yes,
like that?
they do. Exactly.
Which is dumb because all honey traps are walking. Unless they're differently abled. I mean, like, they all tend to be people. So that that was weird to me. And it seems like all of these characters had like one characteristic, and all of their characteristics tend to be based off of, you know, their biggest physical attribute. Like there's the guy who's really into his mech suit. I think the only one, Buzz might be the only one who actually has a characteristic outside of, you know, his, you know, species, because he's Irish and we have no fucking clue why.
Well, I mean, Jeannie's saying, and I agree with her on the chat, is that it's the Irish accent is part of Fuzz's humanoid cosplay. Look, I'm a person, kind of like weird thing.
Yeah,
I find it fun. I like Fuzz. I'm a Fuzz apologist.
Yeah, in the Strange New Loop, you were saying that you wish that he was an actual Vulcan. I entirely agree with you, because every single person that I've talked to about, you know, Fuzz with him in this, you know, Vulcan robot, it just goes Men in Black. Meanwhile, if he was an actual Vulcan that was taken over by this little parasite thing, he would seem terrifying. Like people, there would be such an existential, you know, like discussion about Fuzz and whether it was right. You know, it's like, you know, what's the situation? Like, was it a dead Vulcan body, or is this a butt bug situation?
Butt bugs.
I'm being called out on the chat. Gene saying, Giraffe, you didn't do the you.
Oh,
Here we go.
Man. The only thing I want to say about this is that this was supposed to be, I think, the part of the movie where you feel something for these characters and like they want you to try and, you know, get to know them and feel it. It just made me hate most of them. Like mech suit guy, done, not here for it. Quasi, love me my Quasi, I love me my Rachel Garrett, but Fuzz and Mel, like I liked Mel and then they killed her, so I don't like Mel anymore because she's dead. We're gonna talk about that. I wanted to try. Oh, and listen, like Alok, like I like Omari Hardwick a lot as an actor, but like, dude, just gotta
one note.
Just yeah, just like I couldn't feel anything for him, and it just didn't it didn't work. Let's keep going. So we're introduced to Data No, who is played, I think, brilliantly by Joe Ping. I am sorry, Joe, if I pronounced your name wrong, but I actually really like Data No. He's mildly interesting, at least in my opinion. And Georgiou quickly does the whole phase shift to the big MacGuffin thing, leading to a fight between her and Data No and masked mystery villain number 1, who we know is Sen. And ultimately, Philippa gets the case, which holds the item that Section 31 is looking for, but she loses it not before though she instantly recognizes the film's MacGuffin, because of course she recognizes the big bad thing. Thoughts on the fight? Of course, that includes Mel's death, Data No, and the weapon we will later be known as the gods. And it is totally the chronogami.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric.
I liked Data No. I thought he was humorous and I thought he was fun. I thought the fight choreography in this movie was fucking terrible. It was just terrible. It was the
worst.
It was shot really bad, and it was just really. It seemed really lazy. The phase shift thing, yeah, that's cool, I guess. I thought it was. I don't want to
Dune.
I don't want to say
it was Dune.
I don't want to say clever, but it was something. Sorry, I'm trying to think of a word that's not as good as clever, but you know, not terrible. Like it was fine. The Masked Mystery Villain 1, like when you're sitting there and you're like, that's obviously San, right? That's San. That's San. Like I don't know how that was not a full on like giveaway. The chase for the case was all right. That gave me like nice what's it called? Fifth Element vibes. Then we get Mel's death, which is unfortunate, but you know, Humberly Gonzalez acted fantastic during her death. Like it was a good death. She was very angry. The Godsend. Are we going to talk about the one joke I really liked in this movie, or
Godsend?
That's the only joke I understood. That's why I liked it.
I really like that one too. That
Yeah,
made me laugh.
I think we actually are going to talk about
We'll talk about that. Okay, yeah, then
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, of course she recognizes the thing. How else would she want to go on this
Chronogamy.
trip, right?
Yeah, the chronogamy. Yeah.
The chronogamy.
True.
I like that. I don't know. I have no clue what the fuck he was doing here. I was just like, at that point, I was still like in the ride. I was like, oh, and the guy like carrying, because I like how like they choose the guy to carry a super weapon that is like the most noticeable guy ever. Like you're like, don't give it to a rando who looks like nobody that nobody's gonna clock. No. Give it to like the guy that everyone is gonna clock right away. The prosthetics were super cool. The character design was really interesting, but he didn't do much. Like, did he? Like, he was just a carrier, right? It was just a point between things.
And he was from yeah. I just liked him. I thought he was like a funny villain.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's a cool character design for the guy that carries the wallet, I suppose. But I thought it would be more important. I feel like every single thing happening in this movie, I was like, there's gonna be something else about it, and then there was nothing else about it. So I was like, oh okay, we don't get anything else more from that. I know. I was sad. Gets punched in the face, poor guy, and that's all. The fight really pissed me off because I think that the phase thing is such a brilliant idea, but they don't do much about it except like pass through walls. And I like the fact that sometimes they can hit themselves or not, and like the whole like push and pull. But isn't it fucking criminal to have Michelle Yeoh fight and not be able to see her? Like, she was just blurry most of the time. And I'm like, I am watching this movie because I want to see her do high kicks and badass stuff, like an incredible badass woman she is. And well, she's blurry. Well, I get that. Thank you for coming. And also, how do they not pass through the floor?
That's what Mars is asking.
That's always
and
the question.
It's a good question. Like, but you're saying though, even when you do see Michelle Yeoh fight, it's like, we're gonna ask this question I think 50 more times before we're done with this review. Do you know who you have on set?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I'm like, that's all. That's like you get like the most gorgeous, badass, incredible, like now time actress right now for this, and that's all. I don't know. It was kind of that fight was confusing. Also, funny thing, when we watched the movie, somebody was like, "Oh, is that the guy, like the lover?" And I went, "No, it can't be. He's dead." I was like, not right away, like right now, like 10 minutes in. But yeah, it was him.
MC.
Well, we found out that Andorians are smooth like Ken dolls, which opens up a whole level of conversation for us Trekkies that have an alien fetish. That's it.
Oh,
Where's
I love
Jesco
that
when you
answer.
need-
Where
Where's
is
Jesco? Jesco in the chat.
I would like to know where the Andorian genitalia is. I'm very, very curious.
Their knees.
Their knees. It's their knees. It's their elbows. It's the weenus. Thank you, Eric. I'm glad somebody got that. Let's talk about the flashback real quick because we do get to go back to the mirror universe briefly. What do we think about that scene with her and San where San gives her the weapon and then kills himself, Eric?
I mean, if I wasn't sure that he was the bad guy before this was the point where I was like, it's definitely him. But yeah, it was serviceable, I guess. It told us that it was a bad thing and everyone died in service of this bad thing, which means she has to go on this mission or else the bad thing will happen to this universe. That I got nothing else here.
Fair.
The costume was super cool.
Yeah,
like that whole like dragon kind of like
The long tail.
train, like behind her coat is so unnecessary, but so cool looking. I was like, yeah, you go, Louis the 14th.
It was everything about that room, and it just was, it was gorgeous.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. And then, it was like, guess what? Now I'm sure that's the guy, and that's gonna be the thing. Redemption arc. Oh,
Yay. MC.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing I was mostly going to talk about was that this was like the best costume in the movie. So, but Giraffe comes before me. So, no, I mean, like, I already knew that Sand was going to be the bad guy. And I have to say, as somebody who adores Michelle Yeoh, I didn't care for her acting in this scene, particularly when she was like, I order you not to die or whatever. It was not good.
I will take it a step further and say I didn't care for Michelle Yeoh's acting this entire film.
Oh,
I
can actually respect that. Like there are some scenes that I thought she was okay in, but
one scene, and I'll talk about it. But one scene.
I mean, even James Hiroyuki Yeoh, who plays Sen, like, he's a good actor. Like,
he's a really good actor.
He's been in a lot of good things, and I did not care for him at all.
All great actors. Like, let's be honest, they're all
Yeah.
good actors. And like most of the time, I was like, am I watching improv?
Improv is better. You have Dropout. You know, improv is good.
And you know, other than talking about this scene, I'm really glad that Matt Harker brought this up, because I don't see this being brought up in any of the reviews, and I want to ask you guys his question because I think it's really important to talk about. Does Michelle Yeoh bear responsibility as an executive producer for how her portrayal was written and how she performed as Georgiou in this film?
I mean, it depends on what aspect of a executive producer she is in this film. Like, does she actually have creative control, or is she just getting money for this movie? Like, there's a lot of different aspects of being an executive producer where, you know, and we don't know how involved she was. Like, I feel like she wouldn't have wanted her character to be so different than what she had gone through for 3 years on Disco, and she was totally different on this.
Well, I have to say that, you know, it has been a while since she's played Georgiou.
4 years.
And the memory can be a funny thing where the way they're like we've been the conversation about whether or not Georgiou is lost a lot of her character development from Discovery. I think that is an influence on that. And from what I've seen from Michelle Yeoh, I do think that she kind of forgot a lot of that. She wants the bad bitch. And I really think that's so I do think that she bears some responsibility. I love her, but yeah.
I want to see the full thing that's been shot, because I feel that they shot like for 8 hours of something, and then it was like murdered into an hour 40. And I want the Jack Snyder cut.
Yeah.
Show me the whole thing. If you show me the whole thing, then I'll be like, okay, maybe it still suck. Or maybe actually this character development, and there are like things that make sense, and they're like badass fights, and they're like stuff that is interesting, and that explain why she's acting like this. But right now, basically, for me, we go from scene to scene, and I have no clue how the fuck did we get there. And also the character design is so weird, because Georgiou has this thing where like she's like very Terran, with like the gold and the fang and the power, right? Or like very like Black Ops, you know? And then it's like this like weird character design where she has like all these bling for no good reason. The green contact lenses bothered me beyond. I hated that. And I'm like, what is it that we have like the hair color different, the contact lenses? Like, she doesn't want to look like herself, and we're like, we want to see Michelle Yeoh. I don't want to see like her painting another color. Like, it's not interesting to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. The lenses took me out through. Zanzu's Primo 702 said, "Let's not forget directors, actors follow directors." I think that's fair, and I also want to say that I have a shit ton of respect for Michelle Yeoh, and I really don't believe that as an executive producer, she had creative control, because I think if she watched like the dailies and saw this, I don't think that she would be happy. I think this. I'm not saying this to offend, because listen, actors do this, and it's how they make their money. This is a paycheck for her. I don't think she had creative control, because it was not Georgiou. It just wasn't. I'm not. I would have loved it for it to be Georgiou, but this is not. Save for one scene, which we'll talk about. This was not the same Georgiou from Discovery season 2 or Discovery season 3.
Since we are on this topic right now, I just need to bring this up quickly. While I have in the past brought up lots of problems with depraved bisexual trope, I am so upset that they had no queerness in Georgiou in this. Like, just none at all. So just while we're on the topic of things that are wrong with Georgiou.
Yeah. There was a video review I watched saying the same thing, how it didn't tackle any of like what we saw in Discovery season 1.
I think Jesse might have brought it up.
It was Jesse's. Thank you. It was Jesse's. Yeah. Yep.
Did they start filming this movie as a movie, or was it supposed to be a miniseries?
It was supposed to be a miniseries, and then they turned it into a movie.
No, I meant like when they started filming, like were they?
Oh, they started filming. It was a movie.
It was already a movie. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We're at coded transmission number 2, which is the Godsend. Godsend. I'm gonna skip over the weird Alok and Georgiou interrogation, because it didn't do much for the film, and no one cared. And it was the part where it's revealed that he's a eugenic, like Khan.
That was neat.
An augment. And they didn't do anything.
You said
with
that it was neat. That's what you said.
It neat that he was an augment, and it never was used later.
No, it was a Roddenberry Remember Berry.
Yeah.
Nothing was done with that.
It was Roddenberry Remember Berry. I like that. We get everyone walks out in their cool uniform scene while going through Exposition Flame City. This is where they have your favorite. Yeah, slow-mo. We'll get to talk about your joke, Giraffe. Georgiou explains the Godsend, and then they joke about the Godsend. Thoughts here, Eric?
We paid for butane. We're going to use the butane.
We don't have a bridge for the flamethrower, so let's put them on a planet.
I thought the Godsend joke was really funny. It was the one time in this movie where I was like, good. That's awesome. And then that was it. I was not happy for the rest of the movie.
The Godsend thing like make me laugh, because when they said it, I was going through the same conversation in my head. I was like, is it God's?
That's because you don't have subtitles.
Yeah, I was mostly confused with the movie. I'm mostly confused about everything around me, but like that was like peak. And the whole thing about the flame cracked me up, because if there's one thing that I love, I hate it, but I love it, is the fucking fireballs on the bridge of Discovery, and it was the same thing. And I was like, yeah, fire!
They're everywhere.
Fire everywhere. And also, I have no idea where they are at that moment. Like, I'm like, where are? Oh, is it not said? Like, where did it go? Is that
a random planet?
I was like, is it outside? Wait, thought process. Oh, they went outside of the bar, and I was like, oh, the bar is a space station.
Yeah.
So that's not.
Amy's in the chat and goes, fire, fire, fire. Yeah. MC.
I'm going to be the outlier. I did not care for the God's End joke. It's, Joss Whedon in 2000 called. He wants his joke back. It just really smacked me of that, Joss Whedon, we're in the middle of danger. Because, Georgiou is describing this basically universe-ending, device, and they're talking nomenclature. That's just so freaking Whedon-esque, and
come on, Xander.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah. I got nothing. I didn't.
Sam Richardson was funny.
Who was funny?
Sam Richardson.
Sam Richardson's always funny, though.
He's a joy in this movie.
He delivers the joke well. I'm like, I'm with that guy.
If he wasn't in this movie, I'd be even meaner.
I'm actually mad that he is in this movie, because I doubt that he'll be in any other Star Trek, and I want him to be in other Star Trek.
Fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Exposition Flame City leads to the revelation that Data No is mirror Data No, which, okay, Cool.
Oh, really? He is?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
god,
he's-
I need
yeah.
to rewatch that movie.
Yeah, he's
Subtitle.
married. No. And Philippa and Locke interrogate him until the ship that they're on, which we didn't even have a name of or get to know, gets baboomed. Thoughts on this scene, the interrogation?
So remember, I didn't watch the trailer. So the first time I saw the trailer was last week.
Last week,
So the
or
punching,
2 weeks ago.
the punching thing that they showed in the trailer also made me chuckle. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
So I'm sad that they ruined that way early. The interrogation was okay. He was under a lot of bright light, so I don't know how they wouldn't have known he was Terran at that moment. Wait, I guess of mirror version.
Yeah. They just glossed over that detail about people from the mirror universe.
I mean, it was serviceable. It just added. This movie is weird. Like, it doesn't do things like something causes something to happen. It's just like scene happens, then next
Yeah.
scene. Scene happens, then next scene. Like,
You're like, how do you go there? Like,
it doesn't make sense in my brain, and it's I don't know. The scene was there. It was there.
fair. Yeah. Giraffe.
I actually remember him being from the mirror universe now that you speak about it, because I remember being like, ooh, because I like weird thing in Star Trek. I love in Discovery when we learn that there are actually people who came, like refugees from the mirror universe that came over.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I want to know about these people. And I was like, maybe he's one of those guys who like, and no, he's not. No, he's not at all. I mean, maybe we don't know, but like, it's not explained, right? We don't know what the fuck he's doing here, right? He's just bringing the thing. Nobody knows, right? So yeah, the punting thing what cracked me up during the trailer, and here too, I thought it was funny. I do not buy the chemistry between Alok and Georgiou. I know it's supposed to be a thing, but if they had not told me, I would have not seen it.
I didn't. When you guys talked about it in the chat, I was like, "Was there supposed to be a thing between them?" Because I didn't. I did not feel it at all. The whole
Again,
movie.
that whole movie tells you thing and do not show them to you. So I was like, what chemistry? Oh, they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Then the ship doesn't make sense. Also, like it looks like Book's ship, and it's like 23, 26.
I
But
think that I'm going to defend this a little bit. I want to say that they're using, refractors, like for cloak, because we know Section 31 ships had cloaks. I want to say that effect was what that was trying to give up, because I really hope that they weren't trying to say they had programmable matter.
Well, her mask is programmable matter at the beginning.
Okay, good point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the mask
Yeah.
pissed me off, and then the ship pissed me off, and I was like, what is this?
Wait. Okay. Hold on.
Yes, I'm going nowhere.
This is bear with me on this. Just go along the ride.
Sure.
She came from the 32nd century.
Yes.
What if she brought a little bit of vial back with her? with
Don't
some
you think that
programmable
Carl
matter?
would like
I don't know.
confiscate that at the border?
Carl doesn't seem like he's like 100% on the line.
And
You
with
know what I mean?
like the little vial that she did a mask and not a gun.
Listen, it was a stretch, and I was trying to get us there, and obviously we didn't.
That's totally fair.
One thing I would want from Discovery is like the cool ass like phaser that like show up out of their hand. I was like, that is cool.
She's
For
reformed. She
Section
only had
31.
enough for the mask, not enough for a gun.
And the ship.
Yeah.
But
um,
details.
MC, did you have anything about this data no interrogation scene?
Yeah, I mostly I am wondering about, and I'm sorry to like be like cannon thumping. I'm wondering what's going on with the mirror universe. Because I know like we're discussing when the timeline is, but at the very least, like this is a good number of decades after Spock has put all of his reforms into the Terran Empire. And we're getting fairly close to when, I know we're possibly like right in smack dab in the middle of between Mirror and whatever the first Deep Space Nine episode
In a Mirror
is.
Darkly? No, that's
So- yeah,
Enterprise.
No, that's
Yeah,
Enterprise.
Enterprise,
It might be Through the Looking Glass or something
Yeah.
like that. But at some point, like the other side, which I can't remember what they're called, but the Bajorans and the Cardassians and all of these people have to take over the Terran Empire.
They become the power in the Terran in the Terran universe.
They have to subjugate the Terran people.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem to have happened yet. But I just like. But I mean, also as we discussed, like San should be just like super damn old, and like things don't make sense.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
is Alok, for example?
Well, right, because he's probably ancient too.
But he's supposed to be from the Botany Bay, and it's like what, like 90 years later? Like,
I mean, they don't say specifically that he's from the Botany Bay. Like, I assume that there were probably other augments besides the ones that were on Botany Bay.
no,
But
he
I
said
don't know.
something like,
Didn't
"I
he-
was asleep for a long time, and then me and my brothers were woken up." Doesn't he say that?
Yeah, he says he's like 300 years old, doesn't he?
It's
No, but
bad. But listen, like the exposition for him is bad.
Yeah.
It's
fair.
just
We're
bad.
trying to
I
find
mean-
explanation to something where there's no explanation.
Yeah.
This is the reason why I bring up these canon points. It's like, usually I don't care about this kind of, like, it's easy to not care about this stuff if the story is well done. But when the story's not well done, you're left just wondering, it's like, how does this fit in?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I actually got to say I like this scene a lot for the sole reason that this is one of the only times in the whole film where I feel like Georgiou is Georgiou, where Georgiou and Alok trade the whole Emperor Philippa Georgiou, Regina, and or Iaponius Augustus, whatever. Like she was Georgiou in that moment, and punching him in the face, that was Georgiou. Like, this was fun. Like, this was good. This is what more of the movie needed to be, and it wasn't. And Dada, no, like a bit of that comic relief, just enough for like, does that come with fries? Gets a punch in the face. That's good. That's good. There's like little nuggets or morsels or grains of salt of good in this movie, and this was one of them. This leads to the whole whodunit section of the film. Instead of going into great detail about this, which I really don't want to do,
Thank you.
what did you think about it, and how long did it take you to figure out it was Fuzz and not Garrett, Eric?
I mean, how could it be Garrett? Like, she's like the captain of the Enterprise. Like,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
of course it's not her. Like,
We figured it out in 1990 when Yesterday's Enterprise aired.
yeah, like they should have done everyone except for her. Like, I would have been fine. I wouldn't have been fine because this was just a long and fucking terrible sequence. I did think that Mech Bro dude's death was cool. I thought that I don't remember his name at this moment.
No, his name is Mech Bro.
But like,
What's his name?
I don't remember his name.
Oh god,
Fluff.
no,
Everybody's
Zeph.
fluff.
Zeph. It's Zeph.
Zeph.
I thought seeing his death through his own eyes was very cool. I thought that was neat. I thought that was then this whole sequence, like everything in the forest looked really cheap. Like it looked like a fake forest. And I'm sure they actually filmed it outside, but it didn't look like it. And then it was just, I don't know. I did not like this. Like the amount of genres we go through in this film, this was not one I needed. A whodunit.
It takes you, yeah. Go ahead, Draft.
I was confused why suddenly there was a forest now. I'm like, is it still the fire? No, it's not. Whatever.
They're in a
I
different
knew-
section of the fireplace, isn't it? Isn't it the same planet?
Who the fuck knows?
Oh, God.
I was like, geography, do. At least it's not like Star Wars where, there's like only one climate and one type of like region
True,
all over the planet. So I knew literally right away it was Fuzz because it's so heavily brought
Mhm.
that, like, first of all, out of fucking nowhere, when he presents himself, Fuzz explained that I could take over your mech suit because I'm so tiny. And I was like, oh, that's what they're gonna do, huh? Aren't they? And so when the guy with the mech suit disappeared and he said, I'm like, yeah, it's a tiny guy. And then also he acts super weird, like he's like over the top all the fucking time, like so loud and so like, and then for like a whole scene, he shuts the fuck up, and I'm like, and after telling you that he can put himself into autopilot, and I'm like, oh, so you explained everything to me, and then you do it, and I am not that dumb, so yeah, I knew right away. I thought it would have been cool if I didn't have known, like if they didn't tell me so heavily everything before, then I would have been surprised, and I'd be like, oh, we can be like in an autopilot, whoa, you know, but they literally again didn't show me but told me, so I knew.
Yeah. MC.
Yeah, like what Eric said, having Fuzz and Garrett be like the prime suspects, it's like Garrett is like the one person that there's very little stakes for in terms of this, because we know what's going to happen with Rachel Garrett. And I'm going to bring this up now. I love what Casey Roll did with Garrett.
Yeah.
But again, like Sam Richardson, I am mad that she is in this movie because I think that they could have done. I mean, in the lost era of Star Trek, like this is the era that like people want to know shit about, like because there's like 100 years that nobody knows about. And Rachel Garrett, who is a character that we had one episode with, and this is how they decide to use her. And I think that when you bring back a legacy character, you need to do something with them that's like, you don't have to always like be like calling, forward to, it's like, oh, make a comment about her, dying, sacrificing herself on a starship or whatever. But there should be some sort of build up to something that builds on the character that we already know. And I don't feel like anything that they gave us from Rachel Garrett really enhances what we already know of her. And that kind of bothers me because like this whole like Chaos Goblin thing, it's not like that's anything that is going to come out in the character in yesterday's Enterprise. So sorry that I brought that up now.
It could have been anybody else. That's my problem.
Exactly. That's the problem.
100%.
Like this was
anybody else. Why is he Rachel Garrett? Why?
Yeah, she that is basically what I was trying to say. Thank you for saying it a lot more succinctly. And I mean, I'm fine. She looks like the actress, and I think that she could have done a really good job in something else. Give us a series that's set during the lost years of Star Trek and have her in it as Rachel Garrett. I'd be fine with that, but not with this.
And really, was she a Chaos Goblin? Chaos?
I mean, she did turn a doll into a bomb, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah.
That was the best.
It's the
part
best
of the
fucking part of the movie.
Yeah.
I felt really offended during this part of the movie, the whodunit part of the movie. Like, I mean, I'm not just saying like to be sarcastic. I actually was offended during this. This part of the movie really treated the audience like they were stupid.
Yep.
And I really have a problem with that because Star Trek should not be treating, and for all the people like, well, it's supposed to be Section 31, it's supposed to not feel as much Star Trek. We're bright people. Like Star Trek fans are pretty known for being pretty smart. And this just, well, yeah, this just insulted my intelligence. Like, of course it was Fuzz. Like, there's the moment where he's like, "Oh, I'm perfectly fine." It was just when he was on autopilot. It's like, oh yeah, he's on autopilot. He's busy being the guy who's killing everybody. It was just so obvious, and I don't like when it's like my two rules: don't show children getting hurt, and don't treat your audience like they're not intelligent. Two of my biggest gripes with films. Let's keep going. This leads us to the car chase part of the heist film, the speeder chase. Quick thoughts on this, Eric.
So we have Fuzz versus Philippa Georgiou and an augment. Like, how was this any contest at all?
He's a Vulcan golem.
But think
about
Vulcan
Spock's
Science
strength. Think
Institute,
about
bitch.
Data's strength.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. This
Come
was
up with
also
reasons, okay?
like the CG in the scene was so bad. Like the speed lines to make it look like they were going really fast.
Well,
looked
was it
really,
CG or were they using the AR wall, and the AR wall looked really bad? Because either way,
it was
really
in
bad.
front of them too, right? To
Yeah.
make the wind.
Yeah.
So it was all bad. The one thing that looked really cool was when Quasi like saved them, and then he turned into that big goo thing, and then like a symbiote,
cool.
and then that
Yeah.
that was it. That was and then he throws Georgiou off like him. I don't understand how. Oh yeah.
I have to say that Quasi was the best character in this because first of all, I love the Cameloid. Like for all the reasons I've told before, I was so happy to see one. But then they do nothing. He does nothing with it. Like he turns like twice, and then he turns into the goo, and I'm like, that's like an underuse of a character and a great actor. The speed chase. I'm just gonna say that for anybody that watched Crisis Point 2, Lower Decks did it better, and I think that they should have done Crisis Point 2 as a movie, and it would have been so fucking good.
Yep.
Like chasing the chronogamy and like the speeders, and then all this that would have been better. But yeah, everything that Eric said, it looks bad.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense. Also, where the fuck are they again? Like, what is that place? That place?
This is the cave where all the exposition and flames are drawn from.
But why is there like a thing moving? What are we doing? There's like all the time I'm like, what are they doing? What are they doing? What is that thing? What are they plugging in? What is the antenna? Why is there an antenna? I don't get it. Where do they go? Point A to point B. Why are we going there?
Yeah, it's like the only reason they're here is because they need to be in a place that there's a chase scene. And there's no explanation for it, and I freaking hate it. The only thing
he says we're like smart fans, but I feel stupid watching the whole movie. Like most of the time, like I don't understand.
No, I mean, it's not that you're stupid. It's that it is stupid. It is not setting things up because I mean, think about like in all of the Star Trek shows where it's like the ship is like the like a main character. There's no name for this ship in this. There's no establishing it, and there's no establishing any of these planets. And I mean, like, yes, Star Trek often has planets where, Planet of the Hats, where everybody acts the same. But here, they think that let's just set up some fire on this planet, and that's going to establish it. It's dumb. The only good thing about this scene, as has been said, is Quasi. I liked his little moment. I do love Quasi in this, and I love that Sam Richardson apparently insisted that his eyes be that color because they were the same color as Amon's in the movie, and I appreciate that.
Yep. Yeah. Let's talk about Coded Transmission.
Not
3.
even talking about it. He's just
You
like,
don't want to talk about the awesome chase?
I'm not going to talk about the. I'm not going to talk about the chase scene. Let's talk about Coded Transmission number 3. The Passageway. So after they figure out a plan to get San and Fuzz, because Fuzz is, turned on everybody at this point, they get the garbage haul airborne, which was kind of cool. And we're at the climax of the film. The hull meets up with San's ship. It starts hauling it away. By the way, I did like the design of San's ship, even if San is not a good villain. His bad guy ship was pretty cool. I liked it. I know you don't do ships.
I like ships.
I don't do ships.
Eric you didn't like the ship.
No, I didn't like any of the ship designs in this movie.
I didn't like the garbage haul, but I liked.
I was more thinking about the inside. I hated the inside of San's ship.
Why is it so empty?
It was so.
Yeah,
it's very Terran.
Terrans have bridges.
Yeah. So they start hauling it away like garbage. Philippa and Alok beam over to confront San and Fuzz, and a fight ensues on both ends. This is also the scene where we have Rachel and Quasi doing their thing as well. What did we think about the final confrontation between San, Philippa, and Fuzz? Eric.
San, Philippa, and Fuzz. Okay, this is before the doll.
No. This includes the doll. San, Philippa, Fuzz, doll, the whole.
Okay,
climax.
everything. Okay. Terrible.
I tried not to go terribly into detail with the end here.
The fight was just bad. The Georgiou hugging San to get him to stop. I feel like I've seen this before, and it was just so cheesy then, and then seeing it here was like, why didn't he just stab her? Like, you know how she stabbed Michael in Terra Firma, part 2. And like there's a scene where Faiz and what was that dude's name? Alok were fighting, and he full on just like walk, jump on the wall, and then jump and punch. Like there was no reason for Alok to wait there for him to run, jump on the wall, and then punch him. Like the choreo was so lazy. It was so bad, and I could not handle it. The doll was amazing, hilarious. But that whole sequence of them throwing garbage was from Galaxy Quest. So
yeah.
So yeah, I was not surprised that they were going to do that.
If you really want to get even like before that, I mean Empire as well to a point, right? When the Millennium Falcon dumped,
but he flew away. But he
flew away. Yeah,
they threw the mines at the bad guy ship in Galaxy Quest. So you know, I don't know. I like Quasi in the scene when he was like, "There's so many calculations. What do I do? What do I do?" Sam Richardson, again, a gem in this film. Unfortunately, unfortunately, and you know, Rachel Garrett was fine too. Her embracing that, like going down and doing her science thing, was cool. I feel like the fight between San and Georgiou was supposed to make me feel something for San that I had no feeling for. Like I couldn't care less that she was killing her lover of like 2 years. Like I don't know.
I like how sad you are saying that.
I'm sad that I didn't care about a villain. Like the villains are supposed to be the ones that you know, like carry a film. Like your film lives and dies with how good your villain is. That villain was not good, and it's unfortunate for like the actor involved because he's a great actor, like I said earlier. But I didn't care. I didn't care that he died. Fuzz blowing up in his mini version. Again, I don't care. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care about San either. I was, you know, Discovery has these villains that are always like kind of like, are they right? Are they wrong? Like Tarkov, for example. Like you cannot root for the guy, but then you don't root for the guy. And I was like, I wanted San to be kind of this. Like, am I rooting for him because he's against a bloodthirsty empress who's redeemed, but we don't know she's redeemed because she's not acting like she's redeemed. So I was like, oh, I don't care about any of that. And yeah, the fights suck. Also, like the chronogami, like just falls on the floors and activate. Like that's like your like galaxy destroying fucking thing falls from the table and just activates. Like, what is this? That was so dumb. And I laughed audibly when it happened. I was like, because I drop things all the time and I'm like, oh, do not give me that shit. Like, I'm gonna destroy half the fucking galaxy.
It also looked like a giant D20.
I just have to say, like thank you so much for saying that. It did look like a giant D20. And yes, it activating every time it took a bounce on the ground. Like, it's out.
Like, what is that design?
Dare I say, like, it's out of Paw Patrol? Like,
the only thing that would have made it more Paw Patrol is if they every time it bounced, it zoomed in a little bit, and it bounced and zoomed in. Like,
I do not have children, so I do not know.
That doesn't mean you can't watch Paw Patrol.
I can. I watch Bluey, but not Paw Patrol.
That's much better.
The chronogami godsend. It's got a big name now.
The chronogami, like activating when it touched the floor, cracked me up. Then also, what's his name? Sven, the actor who plays Buzz, Sven Rugrock, I think. I don't remember his last name. Sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
It cracks me up. That guy was like 500% into that fight. Like, it was like, ah! And
the only one.
He's the only one. Like, he read the assignment and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna act insane. And he acted insane through the thing. And it makes no sense. He's like giving all this fucking like explanation when he's getting like his face like plummeted by an augment. And I'm just like, listen, why the fuck? I still don't understand what he's saying, by the way, at that point. So I'm just like, sure, why the fuck not? So I kind of like the Fuzz and Alok thing in the idea that it was so crazy. It's also criminal that Michelle Yeoh literally loses all her fights, including to a guy who basically has like half his face caved in and has been like hiding for I don't know how long, and he's like literally like half her size. She still loses. I'm like, why did you get Michelle Yeoh for that movie? Why? The whole thing with the garbage like thing was straight out of Star Wars. I was just like, oh, after Men in Black, after The Fifth Element, after Mission Impossible, we're doing Star Wars. And I'm like, sure. It was funny. I like the thing with languages, you know me. So I thought it was cool that like Quasi was trying, like, I don't want to understand the whole languages here, which never happened in Star Trek. They usually always know all the languages for no good reasons. So I like that. Again, Quasi was the best character for me. Simon Schuster played the shit out of it. It was so good. I wanted him to be my friend. I wanted him to be in more Star Trek, but we won't. The Chaos Doll was hilarious. Again, it was like very, very Star Wars-y, I would say. But it's very Star Trek ingenuity. Like, I know science, and I'm gonna do science, and science is gonna get me out of it. Because so far we had no science in that movie at all. Zero. Like, vaguely. But that was science-y. And I was like, yeah. I hated the hug, and I hated the fact that for sure they are saved last second. Like, oh, are they dead? No. Like, literally on the line. Quasi managed. Like, shut the fuck up. I was done. I was already done.
MC.
Yeah. The doll thing seemed cool, but at this point, I will admit, I have only watched the movie once. By this point in the movie, I was so defeated. I was trying to pay attention to it because under any circumstances, if I wasn't reviewing Star Trek, I would have turned it off. So it was so perfunctory for me, where I'm just like, the eyes were all glazed over. So I have like almost no emotional response for the rest of this movie because I didn't care anymore. The fight scene, you have Michelle Yeoh and you wasted her in this fight scene, and there's so many good actors that were just fucking wasted. And yeah, like the whole, like, I think they should have killed him.
Didn't they?
They should have killed.
Didn't they kill him?
Alok and
Son?
Georgiou, and no, Alok and Georgiou. I think they should have sacrificed themselves because I didn't care. I just wanted people to die.
Philippa Georgiou's eternal.
No. Because like if they had died there and that was the last movie we got, I'd be even more pissed. I'm like, maybe at one point or another they can like make up for that shit because everybody's still alive. Maybe.
Yeah.
San died though, no?
Yeah, San died.
Yeah, San died.
Yeah, fuck him. They were like, no, not him. We're not transporting him. Fuck him.
This part of the climax of that fight between Georgiou and San is really where I got like mad, because this is the most unrealistic version of Philippa Georgiou we see the entire film. From trying to get through to him from the hug, no. I don't care how reformed she is. Even up to Terra Firma Part 2, Georgiou is still a ruthless killer and will fucking kill you if her life is in danger, period. End of story, no notes. That's just who she is. That fight should have been showcasing everything that Michelle Yeoh did. Instead, they made her weak and boring and just like one of the worst fights I've seen in a film ever. And to Giraffe's point, like, and I think Eric said it too, San is just mustache twirling villain number one. There's zero relating to him. There's zero caring about him. There's zero even looking at him. He's weak as a villain. You know, he's just bored. Like there's nothing there. Now we go out of that garbage barge. You have Casey Roll and Sam Richardson just having like a shit ton of fun together. And it's probably my favorite scenes. Like not just the doll, but their banter. They are the only two who had chemistry together, and they really showcased it. I loved every bit of dialogue. that doll, I think in New York MC, like about 5 people asked me if you're gonna make one. I know you don't care about the movie, so I don't know if you
I don't
will.
care about the movie, but I can see what I can do.
It's just like they were so good. And if I take away anything from this, and we'll talk about it a bit at the end, like if this movie just was Quasi, Rachel, Philippa, and maybe Alok, this movie's maybe a little bit better, right? Like you had too many people fighting for screen time and trying to be relevant, and it just didn't work. But what we get with Sam Richardson and Casey
Can we replace Mel with Alok?
Yeah, I guess.
Fuzz supremacy. I like Fuzz. He's hot. Yes, let's go, Fuzz.
So I love them. The doll, we're all gonna die. We'll be friends forever. It was just so cool. I loved it. Yeah.
I will say that the special effects of that black holy thing
It
was the best
really,
out of the whole movie. That was the best CG.
And then the chronogamy explodes, right?
it does.
Yeah.
Like, why we wanted to explode to close the thing? That was
To
the
close
goal?
the doorway to the mirror universe
But the
again.
bad guy also wanted to explode. So
It made no sense.
is it good that it exploded, or is it bad that it exploded?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because in the end, the bad guy wants it to explode, and it explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The answer is yes.
I have questions.
This movie, man.
Final transmission. 3 of your Earth weeks later.
Oh my god.
I can't believe they did that. I really can't.
I think somebody was like, finally, unlike time. And I was like, this is too late, my man.
No.
It's too late.
Bomb go boom, never ever realizing what it does. Everyone gets rescued, meaning Philippa and Alok. And now we're a big, happy Section 31 family with Jamie Lee Curtis as Control for the ha-has. Thoughts on the end of the movie, Eric?
3 of your Earth weeks later, I actually laughed. Not in a good way. I went, fuck. The Jamie Lee Curtis, I have nothing to say before Jamie Lee Curtis, to be honest. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like the Georgiou and what's his name? Quasi thing was cute, I guess. I like how awkward he acts around Georgiou. That's the only like I like that. Rachel Garrett getting promoted, whatever. The Jamie Lee Curtis thing, which was surprising because I didn't recognize her voice at the beginning. Unlike Giraffe.
No,
But-
I didn't either. I was
I
like,
thought you did.
kind of sound like her, but I was like, that can't.
Yeah, it can't be her. I was very surprised they got her, but then I saw Borderlands last year too. So,
Looking for job.
I just don't understand. The acting was bad, and I love Jamie Lee Curtis. It was just bad, but you can only do so much with what she was given, I guess. And then her bar turns into a ship and flies away and kidnaps everyone.
And has warp speed, apparently.
Kidnaps everyone. That
Yeah,
is true. Like, it's just
and then why did all those other ships go with them? Right?
like, they want to finish their drink and they have a tab open.
I guess I was happy.
Quadrant.
I was happy the movie was over.
Agreed.
And I went straight to our chat on Discord. I was like, please, someone has anyone watched this? I had to wait for Giraffe to watch it so she could comment. And I was like, oh. Yep.
I have to say, like, I'm being called out, like, on the chat that, like, if the bomb explodes, like, closer to San Francisco, it's worse than... No, they explained that the thing, when it blows up, like, literally does a line of murder through the system, right? Through the galaxy, something insane. They still blow it up and nothing happens, and the guys are just next to it. So I'm like, okay, maybe the portal, like, it stopped. Anyway.
They should have ejected it towards the portal. That's what that would have made just the littlest most sense.
But I think this was like the moment where it passes the point. Anyway, this is like the list.
Can I interrupt real
Yeah.
quick? I have to take issue with a comment in the chat from Kang. I will still watch this movie over Final Frontier or Insurrection any day.
Nope.
To which I say,
Yes.
Yes.
how? Yes, you will.
Insurrection? I fucking hate Insurrection.
Oh, I don't know. I would watch Star
Okay,
Trek
I'm
5 10 times over.
I'm going to
this.
tell you what. That movie is dumb. Yes. There are plot holes. Yes. But, and do I like the idea of Section 31? Well, they're not even Section 31. Like, let's be honest. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're like, if somebody's like, Alok made it up, I'd be like, yes, he did. See? But like Insurrection, for me, there's something in Insurrection that makes so no sense with how the Federation is supposed to like treat other planets, and that really disturbs me. Like I'm like, I don't want to watch Star Trek do that. I don't like the principle of it. This is a bad movie and this is dumb. Yes, but there's nothing that I find deeply morally offensive in it. Maybe I'm wrong,
right.
but
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I just don't find anything morally offensive with Star Trek 5, even though it's a bad movie. Like I'll always watch it if it's on.
Yeah, same.
Sorry, Jeff, I interrupted you.
what was? Oh yeah, and then like the Free Earth week later, I just laughed. I was done at that point. I was like, I have no clue. The bar scene again, like the chemistry thing. There's no fucking chemistry. Like and then she's like, I knew you were not Alok. I was like, oh my god, stop it! It is weird. Like you're trying to make a sex thing where there's no sex thing. I did not like that dress at all. The whole like we're gonna put giant shoulders so it's space. I was like, it was maybe the most like interesting thing they've done, but I was just, okay. Like, what is Casey Roll wearing? Like that red dress with like the giant bow is so weird. Also,
I liked her
don't
wig.
know. Yeah, the wig.
Oh.
Yeah, but like the dress is like it looks like Forever 21. Like, what is this? Like,
Can't argue with that. Yeah.
it's just like a red dress with a giant bow, and I'm like, what is that? It's just again, it gives like a little bit a Galaxy Quest, where like they're trying to make it like look like sci-fi, and it's just like kind of weird, and I'm like, this is, I don't know. I didn't like it at all. And then Control. I was so confused because I was like, wait, Control is a Borg? Wait, Control is still here? Why? Why is it still named Control after such sweet sorrow? That's beyond me.
Mhm.
That should not be a thing, right? I don't think in Picard they call it Control, right? I mean,
Well-
like when they're like, it's. I know it's not Section 31, but they're like spies with like, like the handlers. Like, I feel
Oh,
like
are you talking about like Rafi?
Yeah. I was like, I thought Control was like their handler, which would have make sense, but then it was not because it was Control. And then I was like,
Isn't Control AI in Discovery?
Yes.
So Control is
Yeah.
AI, but
And
it's
then-
destroyed.
Yeah, and now I guess it's personified, like
So it's
Brainiac.
a person.
No, I think it's just like they were like trying. Okay,
Explain to me.
story
please.
time with Julian.
Yes.
Jamie. So Ash Tyler's. They're like, hey, Ash Tyler, you should be in charge of Section 31 now. And I'm guessing at that point, Ash Tyler was like, they were like, you know what? We're gonna put a face on Control. We're gonna have Section 31 look good. This is how Control is.
whoa.
Control wasn't AI. Well, exactly. So instead of they're basically making up for the fact that an AI named Control almost destroyed the universe by putting
wait,
pretty
wait.
faces on it.
Wait, is Control still an AI or is it a person?
No, it's a person.
So you're saying
Control is a person.
Control is now M, like in James Bond.
Control is
So
exactly
now
what
it's
I'm
M.
saying.
So that's what I
Yes.
thought. I thought like it was their main hand, like the big boss,
Oh,
the big
Rick just said
handler,
that.
like
Yeah.
the boss, right? So M, okay, but why the fuck would you name it Control?
Yeah.
This is
Because
so
Starfleet
weird.
doesn't learn their lesson ever.
Okay, but still, I was like, me as like somebody who watched Discovery, I was like, Control? Oh my god! So I was confused, and then I was like, so is it a real person or not? And then I was like, why is she Borg? And why is she purple? I don't know. It was so bad.
Oh,
was
isn't that
just
the
confused.
hologram just like in Star
No,
Wars?
I know. But then in the end, she just like laughed awkwardly, and it's the end of the movie. And I was like, I felt like I was a hostage. That last scene, I was like, please let me go. Please let me go. It made no sense. And that last scene, even if the movie was not great and made me cringe, that last scene picks like that control thing pissed me off. I was like, no, you do not. Because it made you think like there was gonna be more, and I was like, I don't want to.
I think they thought there was going to be more.
I'm like, please make it stop. Let me go. Let me go home. So yeah.
MC.
Well, I know exactly why Jamie Lee Curtis is purple, because apparently at this time in history, Section 31 is made up of all misfits. So Jamie Lee Curtis's character clearly comes from the purple dimension.
Yeah. She the one who cuts Data's head?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
This, I mean, like you put in this, you should have put Section 31 family in quotation marks in the outline here, because there is just absolutely no chemistry. Like maybe
It's
between
not like this
Quasi
whole
and
outline
Rachel.
isn't one giant like paragraph of sarcasm, though.
That is very true. Like Rachel and Quasi like did have good chemistry together. I would be behind them being in a much better project together. But like I don't buy this as, Rachel and Georgiou, it's like, you're a bad bitch, all this different kind of stuff. It does not work for me. None of this works. These people would not work together after this. And this
Also,
whole
who says that? Like,
Mm.
it sounds so cringe.
it's so forced. It's so Georgiou, you're so cool. And this whole scene just smacked of the adventure continues. No, it's not going to continue because this movie was terrible and nobody wants another movie of this.
It's Assignment Earth, but not bad enough to be funny.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and Jamie Lee Curtis, I didn't fucking care. I was just like, wow, clearly Michelle Yeoh called in a favor. And yeah.
The only thing I want to end with is saying that I have never been less excited to see Jamie Lee Curtis since the second like newest Halloween sequels to the Halloween sequel. I was just like, please put me out of my fucking misery. I'm done. Like, can Michael Myers just die already? Oh look, it's Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay, bye. Like, we all know why it's there. Like, this is just like MC said, she called in a favor. They did everything everywhere all at once together, and they're like, let's get Jamie. And now Jamie Lee Curtis is in Star Trek.
But don't you think that it's also crazy because if they actually want to be a series after that, they're gonna pay Michelle Yeoh and Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, get the fuck out of here, first of all.
No,
Paramount
they don't
doesn't have that
kind of
money.
No.
And then also, like, why would you show the I'm sorry. It's just weird.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Do I dare say final thoughts?
Yes.
Or yeah, okay, final thoughts. MC, we'll go in reverse.
Yeah, like I said, this era of Star Trek is rife for storytelling. Like I want to hear about Rachel Garrett ascending to becoming the captain of the Enterprise C. There's so much stuff that has not been told in this time period. I would actually be more excited to have a series set during this time than anything before the original series. Yes, I'm looking at you, Strange New Worlds. But to have this be the representation of this era is frankly insulting. That, this time of growth in the Federation, instead we're going to have a frankly Kmart version of Suicide Squad. And I'm not here for it. You had Michelle Yeoh and you wasted her. You had Sam Richardson and you wasted him. You had so many great people and you wasted them. I'm ashamed of you, Star Trek.
Ouch. Damn. Trav.
Okay, if it had not been a Star Trek movie, I would have found it cringe and kind of like weird, but I would have most probably enjoyed it a little bit more because I would have just unplugged my brain and watched it and be like, things
It's a
move.
Netflix heist movie. Yeah.
Yeah, Chronogamy falls on the floor and like activates. I would have fun in dump and I'd be like, okay, somebody tried. And you know what? I spent an hour 40 watching it. You speaking to somebody who has paid numerous times to go see The Room in cinema. So my bar is very low, like very, very low. And it's the kind of movie that I watch on Netflix when I don't know what to watch. And like when I want to watch something when I eat. And I'd be like, yeah, it was not great. But you know what? It was kind of okay. Like it was entertaining. But the fact that I know the universe so well makes me ask so many questions because I'm like, why is there an augment? Why is there cameloid? Why is she so different? Like it has a link to something else that make it even more incomprehensible. And I'm so sad because if there's one thing that I want is more Star Trek, and I don't think we're gonna get more after that. I mean, I don't think they're gonna make the series. Do you think they're gonna make the series out of this?
Absolutely
No.
not.
You know what? If you want my dead honest opinion, we've been talking about this for 5 years now. Up until this actually got filmed, I thought this was never going to happen.
Mhm.
I said it. I've been on record saying it millions of times. This project was dead in the water, developmental hell, not getting done. So I'm actually not going to say never. This could be an encounter at Farpoint, right? Like a dud. This is a dud. But would I like to see these 4 characters who survive at the end keep going? Yes, because they were the best parts of the movie, save for Alok,
And
who
Fuzz's wife.
notice how I even haven't mentioned Fuzz.
I like Fuzz's wife. I'm like,
Mrs.
yeah,
Fuzz?
Mrs. Fuzz. No, I mean, listen, if they could do it well and do it right, yeah, I think they could. I think they should, because I think that they need an A+ after a D-.
But do we want a Star Trek with no science and no like?
Yeah, I do, because I've never I don't buy into the whole like Star Trek can't have its own CIA. Star Trek can't focus on like Game of
that's not
Thrones.
what I
Like
mean.
no, okay, all right. I like outside of the box, no science, no like bigger picture stories. Like I would love to see just like them blowing shit up, but they need to do it well. Like they need like
But why
spy
is it
missions,
Star
and they need to
Trek
do
then?
it well. Why is like you have no, but like you can answer that. Well, you know, Star Wars isn't just Jedi. It's not just smugglers. It's not just the Empire and the New Republic. You know, it's all of these things. Star Trek could be Black Ops 2. It could be the Terran Empire too. You're still
I
trekking through the
agree with
stars.
that.
Terran Empire is a bit different because like I like political shit. You know,
Yeah.
I like when it goes political. Yeah.
I've been on this for years that, you know, I want, you know, my Starfleet political thriller. I want, you know, to see just the Federation. I'm really looking forward to Tanya Newsom doing like this, you know, Pleasure
Yeah.
Planet comedy series. But the thing is, they took a known quantity in Star Trek, Section 31, and I don't understand what they've done with it because this is not a covert ops team. Yeah. So.
Anyway, my
Um,
last thought is that there are things that I found fun in it. There are things that
Yeah.
I would like them to explore. Like Fuzz is a really interesting concept that I would really like them to explore more. But you know what? It liked balls. It like actually going into gritty and like kind of weird and like, for example, that mech guy. Like, why is he a mech? What is his problem with his body? Is he trying to like you know? There was no fucking like deeper things. And I think if they can do that, I would watch the shit out of it.
Yep. Eric.
I mean, I will watch Star Trek 5. I will watch Insurrection. I don't like Insurrection. I would
don't like
watch
Insurrection.
I would watch both of those movies before I watched it. Like, I did not like this movie. I didn't have fun watching it. If like people are saying that this is a good movie to put on the background while you're doing other things. No, I was doing work while I was watching this the first time, and it made me sad. like I was working on the logo package. Like that's what I was working on. And I sat there, I was like, what the fuck? Why? And every time I looked over, it's like, no. Like, I don't know. Like MC said, like it's a known property. Like it's a known government like entity. Like Section 31 should have been like that cool Black Ops thing, and we got like you said it the best, MC. You said Kmart Suicide Squad, and that's so accurate. It makes my heart hurt. But if you want to watch like a ragtag group of like people just trying to like survive on a ship, you watch the Rocinante Crew, and you watch The Expanse.
God, yes.
Like that's like if they did that with Section 31 ish, like that would be a cool like Star Trek
Because
too.
It's
Right?
about the human experience.
Yes.
There's something about the characters that is like
Like-
more about like life and death and doubt and what am I and what am I doing. These guys have nothing.
I've
But
never been in a movie where I didn't care about any character, like any of them. I didn't even care about Philippa Georgiou by the end of it. Like that's a bad thing. Like, and she was
that is not how you should leave this film.
She was
Agreed.
amazing
Yep.
as like, and her last scene in Discovery was heartbreaking. Her and Michael like parting
yeah.
ways, and then to go straight into this, and you're like, well, that's a different Georgiou, and I don't know, man. Alex Kurtzman just fucking ruins. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Oh my.
Dude, please don't let us show up in the algorithm of the people that actually hate Trek, because
hey, at least Paramount did a great job promoting that movie. The trailers were cool. The
Thanks for taking everything I'm about to say.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead,
I
go ahead.
thought
Yeah,
the art style that they released for this was really cool. Like I thought it was a lot cooler than what we got.
look cool.
It looked cool.
Yeah.
Way cooler than the costumes.
All right, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here. This movie sucks. Like, there's no getting around it, right? This movie sucks. And I'm not just saying that, like, as me. 4 of us plus Hawk, 5 of us. That it never happens that we all agree. Sucks. And the reviews are unanimous. That being said, if you enjoyed this movie, I'm like, and I'm not saying this sarcastically, I am happy because that means that it hit for someone. It hit for something, right? Like, there's always someone who's going to like it. And there are a lot of people that I've said, and we're going to read a lot of mailbags tonight about people enjoying this film. And that's good because they're the ones who are going to watch it on Paramount Plus and maybe get Section 31 redemption. If anything, if I could take a positive away from this, it's that this steaming hot pile of garbage was liked by some people. And that's a good thing. And that people are going to watch it and give Paramount money. Because at the end of the day, we want to give Paramount money to fund more Star Trek. I also have to give this movie mad props for what Giraffe just said. Love the movie, hate the movie, somewhere in between, wherever you are. The marketing for Section 31 is some of the best marketing that Paramount has done for any project in New Trek, I think, except for like Stranger World Season 2. Like, I love the marketing for Stranger World Season 2. The using Beyonce, using the colors like this magenta and the yellow that like we're using like in our logo packages right now. By the way, the new logo packages Eric did are fire. The trailers, the box I got, like they spared no expense. Like we saw it in New York City too. The billboards, the night that we were driving home from McHale's on Friday, they lit the Empire State Building in the Section 31 colors. And Michelle Yeoh was on top of the Empire State Building doing that. It was awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. Like the marketing, right? Yeah, I know. The marketing for this film, I know. The marketing for this film was fantastic. And I have to shout that out because yeah, it's like polishing a turd. It's just, I don't know. But I'm really happy that people like this movie because we need people to like this movie so people watch it and give us a redemption like a Section 31 2 or a Section 31 series that has the potential with this cast and a better writing team and a better production team to be good. And that is where I will leave it. Let's get to the subspace to poll and mailbag. We tried something new with the poll because Blue Sky polls aren't working right now. Threads is already dying because of Zuckerberg being a Nazi. Yeah.
Let's get canceled.
Let's get canceled. So we did it on our Discord with our Discord collective. Who wants to take the poll?
I can take it.
Go ahead.
We asked our Discord collective what they thought of Section 31, and this is what they had to say. 3 votes said, sign me up for Black Ops. 10 votes for here for Chaos Goblins. 5 votes for does it come with fries? And 2 votes for Godsend. Godsend? Who cares?
And that was that. Who wants to take the first? So MC, that means I'll take it. I will take the first mailbag from Sean Fruit, who wrote, I love this film and agree with Lawrence from the live review. It's here for a new audience. Michelle Yeoh has a huge global fan base going all the way back to her Hong Kong action films from the early 1990s, and Section 31 is a great nod to those uniquely campy films. I hope this will become an on-ramp for martial arts action fans to get in on this Trek that we all love, and for Trek fans to try out and enjoy all of Yeoh's filmography. Eric, can you take the next mailbag?
Katie wrote, I really love Section 31. This movie is so much deeper than meets the eye. It has a very emotional undercurrent to it. This is a side of Trek that needed to be seen. This showed a different side of Section 31 that is real and raw. They were basically a group of misfits with hard histories who just managed to tolerate one another. But when they needed to be, they were on point. I actually cried 3 times watching it. We've seen the uniforms of Trek. It's now time we saw the darker and roguish side of it.
Alrighty. And Draft, could you take Jedi Cats, please?
Jedi Cat wrote, I enjoyed some parts of the movie and thought it had a lot of potential, but I'm sad to say it's ultimately run-of-the-mill sci-fi. Michelle Yeoh and Sam Richardson were the best things about it. I think it definitely suffered from the original writers being dropped and being cut down from a series to a movie. It was so unfocused. More effort should have been put into making it a good standalone movie instead of a stitched-together attempt at a pilot that came off like 2 movies in one. It saddens me to give a less than stellar review to a Star Trek project I was rooting for. I still think a good film or series could be made of Section 31, but unfortunately, this wasn't it.
Yep, agreed. And then MCQ sake, JMC Trek, please.
JMC Trek wrote, I look at the Section 31 film from the standpoint that there is worse Star Trek out there. Did I like the film? No. Did I hate it? Also no. There were some good things to come out of the film. Paramount, please give us a Rachel Garrett series or miniseries. It doesn't even have to be on the Enterprise C, just anything to have to do with the character. Casey Roll was fantastic, and I want to see more of her in Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a huge Casey Roll fan, by the way, and for whatever reason you've never watched The Magicians, go watch The Magicians, please. Eric, you take Mars's, please.
Okay. You skipped yourself.
I did. I'm sorry. I will take Mars's. Sorry. I will take Mars's.
For once, he's skipping himself.
It
New
happens,
year, new
guys.
you.
Yeah, right. So Mars wrote, waking up the day of Section 131 premiered to the scathing reviews was a real gut punch for me. Imagine me as Luke when Vader tells him he is his father. I really wanted this movie to be good. Like, how could it be this bad? And then Giraffe started breaking it down for me at the convention to the point where I'm crying. And then I watched it. Here are some of the other franchise vibes I got while watching. Game of Thrones, Mandalorian, Men in Black, Hunger Games, Dune, Ocean's Whatnots, Mission Impossibles, The Fifth Element. You know what franchise vibes I did not get? Star Trek or Section 31. Rachel Garrett is great and I love me a Chaos Goblin being one myself, but it was such a missed opportunity to have, I don't know, Daniels or Sloan or even Ash fucking Tyler to give it more Section 31 cred, but it was just a disjointed mess to me that I continue to be bewildered and annoyed by. You were supposed to be the chosen one.
Oh,
nice. Agreed, Mars, with all of that. Can you take Takako's, please, Eric?
totally. Takako wrote, while it was a fun watch, I feel it was a lost opportunity to tell a more substantial story. It felt like an extra long episode, making it a bit frenetic from trying to fit a lot in, but also not giving the story enough time to build to emotional stakes in the characters. I'm particularly pained by the fact that the last moments between Philippa and Sen didn't pack the emotional gut punch I'm sure it was supposed to have, and would have if they had spent some more time developing him and his relationship with her. Loud music and lots of flashbang made it hard to understand sometimes. It's unfortunate as Michelle Yeoh kicks ass, as she always does, but this vehicle didn't come out as well built as she deserves. Also, Georgiou practices percussive maintenance.
Yeah, she totally had a Jenkem moment in
Oh,
this.
yeah, I love that.
It was pretty awesome.
Kick it!
Kick it.
NY Relight wrote, "These would have worked a lot better for me as a miniseries to give all the story elements more time to breathe. The movie could have been better, but stuff online about it ruining track is massive hyperbole. That said, it was enjoyable seeing Michelle Yeoh back in track. I want to see more of Garrett and Alok."
I do want to touch on that point real quick. There is a lot of like other reviews that I think are actually more scathing than ours. There are. And I will say, this didn't ruin Star Trek. Is it a
Nothing
bad?
can ruin Star Trek.
No. Is it a bad movie? Yeah. There's odd number Star Trek movies.
People
There's
are
bad
like,
Star Trek
"There's
movies
not
out
gonna
there.
be Star Trek after that." Like, have
No.
you watched Star Trek? Have you watched season 1 of TNG?
Yeah. Oh my god. Have you watched
Fred.
season 2 of
We approve.
yeah. Like it's gonna be okay, guys. Like it's also okay to say that this is the worst Star Trek movie. Do I think that this is the worst Star Trek movie? Yes. Is it gonna kill Star Trek? No. It's gonna
This is a fart in the wind of Star Trek.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah. Can you
Too bad
take
it cost so much money.
Yeah, right.
That is true.
Can you take Tara's, please, MC?
Tara wrote, Section 31, Pros, Michelle Yeoh, Georgiou backstory. The Baram design, Michelle Yeoh, Rachel Garrett, using garbage as a weapon, Michelle Yeoh. A few laughs. Cons, no real spy fair, too much fighting, scientific plot holes, an excitable Vulcan with a heavy Irish brogue. And now a limerick.
Yeah.
On the edges of Federation space, the Emperor leads a 24-hour chase. Her fight scenes take forever. The plot, barely an endeavor. Can our fave franchise regroup and save face?
You should have done that in a heavy Irish brogue.
Yeah.
I don't do an Irish brogue.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I will take it home with Colin, who wrote, "Want to know what my most frequent phrase is with action flicks? Another fight scene? The story was meh. I like the more human story of the young Georgiou. This obviously written to fit as much slam, bang, pow as possible. If you've ever seen any of the 1960s versions of Batman, you'll know what I mean. I like Michelle Yeoh. I like Jamie Lee Curtis cameo. I like meeting Rachel Garrett. I would have liked this movie much more if we had been given just a little time to know the rest of the team a little bit better." And with that,
Totally.
we say the end. That is section 31. 2 episodes done and dusted. We don't have to talk about it or watch it ever again.
I will watch it with subtitle. I want to know what.
Yeah.
Fred, call me. Tell me
my
what
God.
you say.
I want to say a big thank you to the chat, which was absolutely hopping tonight. Like, everybody had great points. Listen, we can't love everything all the time, and this is one of those times. I hope if you liked the movie, if you hated the movie, if you're somewhere in between, you still had fun with our review, because that's what we're here to do. We're to have fun. I had fun tonight, but it's over, and it needed to be. So with that, I will say we will see you next week. We are going to have a lot of fun next week. It is our 30th anniversary Voyager episode. It is going to be fun. We are going to do some watch-alongs. We are going to get all of your mailbags and thoughts on Voyager. Cannot wait for that. We have a great list of what's coming for you in February as well, so stay tuned for that. That is going to do it. For MC, for Eric, for Giraffe, I am Julian. Live long and prosper. Chaos is my friend with benefits. Majram, and good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.